At 2:46 a.m. on March 2nd, 2021, veteran trucker Dale Mercer keyed into his CB from somewhere off Interstate 40, just past Needles, California. "Dispatch, I got a wrong turn here. This ain't my road. Who built a gas station out here?" It was the last anyone ever heard from him. By morning, his rig was found idling in the Mojave scrub, trailer intact, headlights off, driver's door wide open, engine humming quietly. There was no sign of Dale, no footprints, and no gas station for 30 miles in any direction. Dale Mercer, 54, was a third-generation truck driver out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Known by his CB handle High Noon, Mercer had logged over 2 million miles across the Southwest and was considered one of the most dependable drivers employed by Gallant Freight Lines. His preferred rig was a 2016 Freightliner Cascadia, navy blue with silver striping, fitted with a custom-built sleeping cabin and dash camera. He often ran solo, preferring late-night hauls and long stretches of uninterrupted desert roads. Divorced, with 2 grown daughters living in Flagstaff, Dale was described as methodical and calm, bordering on superstitious. He carried a rosary on his rearview mirror and kept a notebook of rest stops he considered bad luck. His last route was a routine run from Barstow, California, to Santa Rosa, New Mexico, hauling surplus auto parts. He was expected to deliver by 10 a.m. on March 2nd. The job was simple. No complicated cargo, no detours logged. March 1st, 5:45 p.m., departure from Barstow Depot. Dale signed out of Gallant's Barstow Yard, trailer fully loaded and secured. GPS showed his route following I-40 east, with projected arrival by 8:30 a.m. the following morning. 7:10 p.m., Ludlow, California. Dale stopped at a Chevron for coffee and to check his tires. CCTV captured him entering and exiting calmly. He nodded at me, didn't say much. Bought coffee and a banana. Nothing strange. Store clerk, Ludlow Chevron. 9:42 p.m., Needles, California. Dale radioed dispatch. "Just past Needles. No traffic. Rolling steady. Gonna skip the rest stop, make good time." He was logged at mile marker 148 heading eastbound. 12:17 a.m., unscheduled GPS deviation. At mile marker 164, Dale's GPS showed a brief 0.3-mile detour down a side road labeled Dorsey Access Road, a utility path known mostly to local surveyors. He rejoined I-42 minutes later. No reason was given. 2:03 a.m., final known CB contact. Another driver, Marcus Speedtrap Hayes, heading westbound, claimed Dale passed him on a stretch near the Mojave National Preserve. He flashed his brights once. I flashed back. Standard deal. But I noticed his high beams flicked twice more like Morse. I thought he was messing around. Hayes reported no unusual conditions or vehicles on the road at the time. 2:46 a.m., final transmission. Dale's voice came over dispatch radio. "Dispatch, I got a wrong turn here. This ain't my road. Who built a gas station out here?" There was no reply after. Dispatch tried calling back. No answer. 3:20 a.m., GPS signal lost. Dale's final location pinged 4.6 miles off the interstate, along a barely charted path within the Mojave Basin near Afton Canyon. That signal abruptly stopped. No movement logged after. 6:02 a.m., vehicle located. Another Gallant driver heading east spotted Dale's truck off-road, parked parallel to a dry wash. He called it in. His cab door was open, engine humming, trailer untouched. No sign of Dale. It was like he stepped out to stretch and never came back. March 2nd, 8:14 a.m., CHP responds. California Highway Patrol and San Bernardino County deputies arrived at the scene. The truck's headlights were off, engine idling, CB radio active but silent. Dale's logbook was open on the dash, last entry timestamp 2:30 a.m. Personal effects still inside. Wallet, rosary, a half-eaten sandwich, a plastic travel mug with warm coffee. The driver's side door was ajar. No signs of forced entry or struggle. The ground around the truck was compacted, but investigators found no footprints. Not Dale's, not anyone else's. A single tire track, not from Dale's truck, was found roughly 18 yards north, but it terminated after 12 feet. No matching vehicle was found. Weird clue number 1. the gas station illusion. Investigators canvassed the area Dale's GPS passed through. No active or abandoned gas stations existed within a 30-mile radius. However, one off-duty ranger later mentioned, "In the 80s, there was a mobile refueling depot out here, Army surplus. Torn down in '92. Some concrete footers are still out there, but it's rubble." How Dale saw full structure remains unexplained. Weird clue number 2, radio interference. Dispatch audio logs recovered later that week revealed minor distortion immediately after Dale's final transmission. Specifically, a 2.3-second pulse of static followed by an unintelligible voice whisper. Audio tech enhanced it. The only decipherable word. Exit. March 3rd to 7th, search intensifies. Drones, canine teams, and volunteers combed the desert in a 10-mile radius. The only discovery, a torn receipt from the Ludlow Chevron, wedged in a yucca bush, 6.7 miles away from Dale's rig. No body, no clothing, no trace of a fall, animal activity, or human interference. The weather remained clear. No flash floods, no storms. This isn't a body dump. This isn't an accident. It's like he evaporated, one search officer told a local paper anonymously. Weird clue number 3, CB frequency loops. 2 separate truckers reported hearing what sounded like Dale's voice the next night on Channel 19, on loop. It was him, saying the same line. "Dispatch, this ain't my road," it repeated 3 times. Then silence. James P. Lowell, independent driver. FCC investigators were unable to reproduce the signal or identify any interference source. They chalked it up to radio anomalies. March 9th, strange photo surfaces. An amateur hiker exploring the canyon posted an image to a Facebook hiking group. In the upper corner of the photo, just sky and desert, users claimed a translucent outline of a semi-truck cab was faintly visible. The post was removed after 48 hours. The user deleted their account. Law enforcement conclusion. By March 14th, the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department ended the search. Dale Mercer was declared missing under unexplained circumstances. Gallant Freight Lines was issued a voluntary citation for route deviation protocol failure. They quietly fitted all future trucks with real-time driver biometrics. Dale's family held a private memorial in Flagstaff. His daughters refused interviews. His rig was towed and stripped. Mechanics reported something strange with the onboard GPS unit. It had logged one additional waypoint, a location 18 miles east of the last known position, timestamped 2:58 a.m. But the truck had not moved. This led to speculation about GPS spoofing, but no technical malfunction was proven. Since then, rumors have spread across trucker forums about the phantom gas station near Afton Canyon. Some claim if you drive that route alone past midnight, your CB might crackle with a voice asking for directions. Others say the land used to be a nuclear signal testing site, and electromagnetic echoes can create hallucinations. But nothing official ever confirmed it. In the 2 years since, 5 other truckers have reported strange lights in that same area. None vanished, but all claimed they saw a blue semi parked off-road, even though no vehicle was found. In 2023, a final eerie note. A local desert artist built a makeshift monument near the area Dale vanished. It was a silhouette of a trucker in steel, pointing west. In early September, the statue was found toppled, face buried in the dirt, no sign of impact or vandalism. The artist moved away weeks later. Didn't leave a forwarding address. Today, drivers still honk twice when passing mile marker 164. Not everyone knows why, but the desert remembers. Before we proceed, please let us know where you're from. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel and be a part of our small community. Let's continue. At 3:11 a.m. on November 14, 2019, a final radio transmission crackled over Channel 19. "Tell dispatch I'm seeing lights. They're not cars. Something's wrong up here." The voice was that of 47-year-old long-haul trucker, Danny McCrae, on Route 395 near the Sierra Nevada range. His rig was later found, engine still warm, door wide open, miles off route on an unmarked service road. Danny McCrae was never seen again. Daniel McCrae had been with Sierra Freight Haul Company for 17 years. Based out of Barstow, California, he drove a 2012 Kenworth T680 he named Loretta, after his late wife. Danny wasn't flashy, just a routine man with a steady logbook, reliable habits, and a love for silence on the open road. Twice divorced, no children, he lived alone in a modest RV trailer parked behind a truck stop off I-15. Those who knew him said he smoked too much, talked too little, but always called in at checkpoints like clockwork. On the night of November 13th, Danny was tasked with a relatively simple northbound haul, packaged insulation materials from Adelanto, California, to a warehouse near Reno, Nevada. The job paid standard freight rate, with a promised unload time by noon the following day. Weather was clear, CB chatter was minimal, and Danny left the depot at 8:06 p.m., logging the route manually and by GPS. 8:06 p.m., departure from Adelanto, California. Danny signed out at the Sierra Freight Depot, hauling a loaded 53-foot trailer. He fueled up just north of Victorville and merged onto U.S. Route 395. 9:30 p.m., Kramer Junction. At the Four Corners Cafe truck stop, Danny grabbed coffee and chatted briefly with a fellow driver, Charlie Grunt Maxwell. He was quiet but clear-headed. Said he wanted to make Reno by 7 a.m., no detours. That was the last I saw of him. Charlie Maxwell. 10:48 p.m., Olancha, California. Danny passed the way station and pinged his GPS check-in. Dispatch logged him as on time. No issues reported. 12:32 a.m., near Bishop, California. Danny radioed into dispatch. Sky's acting funny. Might be some northern lights or something. Didn't think we got those down here. It was logged as a routine update. No red flags. 1:24 a.m., last known GPS ping. McRae's truck veered off 395 for approximately 2.3 miles onto what appeared to be a maintenance road near Cottonwood Creek. There is no documented reason for the turn. No construction, detours, or weather hazards were present. 2:51 a.m., unconfirmed eyewitness account. A southbound trucker, Lorraine Huff, reported seeing a semi parked at an angle facing downhill, lights still on, door ajar. It looked like he stopped mid-turn. I slowed down, but didn't pull over, figured someone was handling a breakdown. Huff's dashcam footage captured the tail end of a red trailer, but no visible license plate. 3:11 a.m., final radio transmission. Danny's voice was heard faintly by 3 different truckers on Channel 19. Tell dispatch I'm seeing lights. They're not cars. Something's wrong up here. The transmission cut mid-sentence. No further contact was made. 4:20 a.m., dispatch alarm. After multiple missed check-ins, Sierra Freight flagged Danny as unresponsive. His last GPS ping had gone dead an hour earlier. Search initiated, November 14th, 6:15 a.m. California Highway Patrol and Inyo County Search and Rescue began sweeping the stretch between Bishop and Tom's Place. By 9:02 a.m., aerial support located Danny's truck 2.1 miles off-road, partially hidden behind a rise in the terrain. The rig was parked in neutral. Driver door ajar. Engine warm. Danny's wallet, phone, and logbook were inside. CB radio was cracked, seemingly from blunt impact. Most notably, the trailer was still sealed. Not tampered with. A single set of footprints, matching Danny's boots, led approximately 80 yards into the sagebrush and vanished. No drag marks. No tire tracks. No signs of a second person. Weird clue number 1, burnt tree line. Investigators noted a line of singed shrubs and one scorched tree branch near the last footprint, suggesting a recent, contained burn. But no source of fire was found. The smell of ozone was noted by 2 investigators. Weird clue number 2, truck battery drained. Despite the engine still being warm at discovery, the truck's primary and auxiliary batteries were dead. Mechanics later confirmed there was no mechanical reason for full battery drain unless power was drawn abnormally or sabotaged. Weird clue number 3, CB radio message, recovered November 17th. Audio technicians analyzed Channel 19's open frequency recordings. On a loop from 3:09 to 3:12 a.m., background interference in Danny's last transmission revealed something faint. "Don't come any close." Interference. I said stop. "Who are you?" Interference. "Loretta, baby, I'm sore." That final line led investigators to believe Danny believed he was in mortal danger. Witnesses and leads. A local ranger reported unusual drone activity in the area that week, but couldn't tie it directly to the case. No animal prints, no tire impressions from other vehicles. Satellite imaging during that hour was inconclusive due to a low-orbit cloud patch, but one pixel anomaly was noted near the truck's location. A single heat bloom the size of a compact car, lasting 4 seconds. FBI involvement. By November 18th, due to the strange electromagnetic signatures and unexplained disappearance, the FBI briefly stepped in under the guise of interstate cargo tampering. They left within 48 hours with no formal statement. Family and personal effects. Danny's brother, Calvin McRae, collected his personal items from the truck depot. According to Calvin, one photo in Danny's glove box was missing. It was a 1997 photo of Danny and his wife taken at Yosemite. No break-in was noted. Daniel McRae's disappearance sent ripples through the trucking community. For months after, truckers traveling Route 395 would honk twice at the Cottonwood turnoff as tribute. The Sierra Freight Company quietly installed dash cams and panic beacons in all rigs. Rumors began to spread among truckers. Some claimed the area where Danny vanished was once an abandoned Cold War communications site, decommissioned in the 1980s but still hot on radar. Others mentioned strange lights seen in the sky that week, though no official report of aerial activity was filed. One YouTube channel uploaded Lorraine Huff's dashcam footage in January 2020. In the slowed-down frames, just as she passes the parked rig, a brief flash of something metallic appears in the upper right corner. Too blurry to identify. It vanished from the internet within days. To this day, truckers report static interference between mile markers 227 and 231 on Channel 19. Some say if you're driving alone around 3 a.m., you might hear a faint voice repeat, "Loretta, baby, I'm sorry." Daniel McRae was declared legally deceased in 2023. His rig was sold to a private buyer, who returned it after 1 month, claiming the dash controls lit up at random and played whispers over the cab speakers, despite the radio being removed. The Sierra Freight turnoff remains unmarked. And somewhere out there, in the stillness of the high desert, a man vanished, leaving only a final, broken transmission. At 12:41 a.m. on June 6, 2017, independent hauler Robbie Kinney radioed a chilling request over CB Channel 19. "If anyone's out here on Route 77, I need eyes. There's a man walking between the rigs at marker 44. No lights. No face." 4 minutes later, his engine was still running, his rig lights flashing, and his side door left open, his boots neatly placed on the gravel outside. There were no signs of struggle. No blood. No Robbie. Since that night, no trucker parks at marker 44 after midnight. Not willingly. Robbie Kinney, 38, was a long-haul owner-operator based out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. He'd been on the road since 19, having bought his first rig with the help of his uncle, also a trucker. Known for his punctuality and tendency to pull 14-hour stretches without complaint, Robbie ran a customized 2008 Peterbilt 379, a red and white model with chrome stacks and a sleeper cab filled with old rock CDs and photos of his dog, Harley. He had no kids, never married, and often joked that the road was the only wife that didn't talk back. He wasn't known to spook easily. Fellow truckers described him as calm, deliberate, and unshakable even in ice storms. The route that night was standard, a late-night haul of pet food pallets from Abilene, Texas to Wichita, Kansas. It was a low-risk, solo-run Robbie had taken many times before, favoring late-night drives for lighter traffic. But this time, he never made it past mile marker 44. June 5th, 6:03 p.m., departure from Abilene Depot. Robbie signed out from the All Paws Distribution Center. Manifest confirmed 42 pallets of dry dog food. No hazardous cargo. No issues with load weight. Dashcam and GPS active. 8:27 p.m., last known video. Robbie's dashcam captured footage near the town of Anson, Texas. Smooth traffic, no anomalies. In the cab audio, he hums along to Life in the Fast Lane by the Eagles. 10:04 p.m., rest area stop. Pulled into the Elm Springs rest stop, used the restroom, grabbed coffee, and refueled. Another driver, Janice Rodriguez, reported seeing him. He looked tired but good. He nodded, said making good time. Nothing weird. 11:41 p.m. Approaches marker 44. GPS showed him within 3 miles of the unofficial pullover area known among truckers as marker 44. A wide gravel patch just off Route 77. Not an official rest stop, but often used to sleep or fix minor rig issues. 12:02 a.m. Dashcam activity ceases. The footage abruptly ends with static and a high-pitched whine lasting 1.7 seconds. The data is corrupted beyond that point. 12:19 a.m. CB transmissions begin. 2 drivers, Sammy Doc Whitford and Leah Ng, reported hearing Kinney on Channel 19. Truckers heading northbound, just FYI. Don't stop at marker 44. There's a man in the ditch. He keeps looking at me, but he's not moving. No response recorded. 12:32 a.m. Second transmission. Robbie again keyed in. He's up now, walking around the rigs. He doesn't have a flashlight. Or a face. I'm not kidding. I think I'm gonna get out and tell him to move. 12:41 a.m. Final transmission. If anyone's out here on Route 77, I need eyes. There's a man walking between the rigs at marker 44. No lights. No face. That was the last anyone heard from Robbie Kinney. 12:53 a.m. Discovery. A passing driver, Julian Park, spotted Robbie's truck idling on the shoulder. He pulled over, approached, and found the cab door open, the lights flickering, and the driver's boots outside on the ground, carefully placed side by side. The keys were still in the ignition. Radio static hissed from the speakers. June 6th, 1:25 a.m., local authorities arrived. The Comanche County Sheriff's Department responded within 40 minutes. They found Robbie's rig still running, doors unlocked. Personal items inside included wallet, cash untouched, cell phone, battery drained, a partially eaten protein bar, dog keychain. The seat was slightly reclined, suggesting Robbie may have been resting before exiting. Nothing was stolen. Nothing was broken. Unusual detail number 1, dust disruption. Although the ground surrounding the truck was dry and dusty, there were no footprints, neither leading away nor approaching the vehicle. Even the boots, found 2 feet from the step rail, were surrounded by undisturbed gravel. Unusual detail number 2, CB channel anomaly. Audio pulled from Robbie's CB unit revealed strange feedback loops in the final recording. One tech from the sheriff's office noted, the loop kept repeating the phrase, "Turn off your lights," in a whisper, barely audible, like it was layered under the static. No driver reported saying that. June 6th, 3:04 a.m., K-9 units deployed. Search dogs were brought in, focusing on the desert scrub surrounding the gravel lot. The dogs alerted twice, once behind the truck and once 100 yards northeast, before both refused to continue forward. Their handlers described the dogs as unusually anxious, whining, and retreating. June 6th to 9th, expanded search. Over the next 72 hours, helicopters, thermal imaging, and dozens of volunteers scoured the stretch around marker 44. The only thing recovered was Robbie's phone, located 0.4 miles away, propped up against a mesquite tree. The final photo on it showed the cab's interior. Nothing unusual, except a small blur in the passenger side mirror. Analysis was inconclusive. Twist: prior incidents at marker 44. Local law enforcement later admitted that the area had a history of strange reports dating back nearly a decade. 2011, driver reportedly woke up to find his rear trailer doors wide open, with no cargo missing. 2013, 2 rigs found abandoned at 2 a.m. within 50 feet of each other. No signs of their drivers. 2016, woman reported a naked man crouching behind a cactus, who vanished when headlights swept the area. None of those cases resulted in arrests or credible suspects. Robbie's rig towed. The truck was hauled back to Tulsa for investigation. Mechanics found no mechanical issues, but did notice an unexplained power draw that drained both the truck's main and backup batteries within hours. The onboard camera's backup drive had been physically wiped. Memory corrupted. One forensic tech noted that the wiring behind the dash had been scorched from the inside out. Robbie Kinney was officially declared missing on June 13, 2017. His disappearance shocked the regional trucking community. The case made local news, but never gained national traction. Most drivers believed he'd simply wandered off in the night, despite the lack of evidence supporting that theory. Truckers passing marker 44 began reporting intermittent CB interference in the weeks after. Some said they heard Robbie's voice whispering his last words, "No lights, no face." Others reported seeing a figure walking along the gravel at night, never fully visible, never acknowledging passing trucks. In 2019, a Reddit user posted drone footage of Route 77 at night. The clip appeared ordinary until a comment pointed out a figure standing motionless beside the pullover lot, too tall, too still, and facing away from the camera. The video was later deleted. The user's account disappeared. Today, most drivers avoid marker 44 altogether. Others tape black cloth over their cab mirrors when passing it at night. A memorial cross now stands by the road, bearing the inscription, "Robbie Kinney, last seen June 6, 2017. The road remembers." But even that cross hasn't stayed untouched. In 2022, a passing driver snapped a photo of it just after midnight. The cross had been twisted, its arms bent downward, forming an X. No one has claimed responsibility. No one goes back to fix it. And to this day, no one parks at marker 44 after midnight. At 2:14 a.m. on October 3, 2018, three separate truckers traveling Route 89, near Glen Canyon, Utah, radioed the same thing. A woman in white standing at the roadside, waving her arms, asking for help. But when local deputies arrived 27 minutes later, there was no woman, just a faint set of footprints that led nowhere, and one driver's rig left running with the door wide open. What began as a routine roadside assistance call quickly spiraled into one of the strangest disappearances in regional freight history. No one has seen her since, but some drivers still report her waving them down near mile marker 302. Trucker Jason Rayburn, 41, was a father of two and a U.S. Army veteran who had been with Hollowback Freight for nearly a decade. Based out of Flagstaff, Arizona, he frequently ran long-haul deliveries into Utah, Wyoming, and Idaho. Jason was known for being meticulous, clean logs, no accidents, and a near-obsessive punctuality. His wife described him as quiet, but hard-headed when something felt off. That night, Jason was headed northbound hauling hardware supplies from Prescott, Arizona, to Salt Lake City. It was a simple, overnight run, well within his comfort zone. Jason drove a black 2015 Kenworth T880 with upgraded dash tech and his unit number, 712X, in white paint across both doors. The truck was equipped with both GPS tracking and an onboard dashcam system. Route 89, particularly between Page and Kanab, is a desolate stretch. No gas stations, no cell towers for long patches, and a steep, dark highway hugging the cliffside. Drivers call it the Empty Spine. October 2nd, 6:38 p.m., departure from Prescott, Arizona. Jason loaded his trailer with box pipe fittings and wiring supplies and clocked out from the depot. He messaged his wife, "Clear run. Should be back before noon tomorrow. Kiss the girls." 9:12 p.m., passed through Page, Arizona. Jason fueled up, bought coffee, and checked his tires. CCTV shows nothing unusual. 11:05 p.m., entered Route 89 stretch, mile marker 275. GPS shows steady cruising speed, no deviations. Dashcam footage is consistent, dark roads, light CB chatter. 12:47 a.m., first CB report. Independent driver Carl Barnes, heading southbound, keyed into channel 19. "Anyone else see the lady on the shoulder back at 302? Looked like she needed help, but she didn't flag me until I passed her." 1:02 a.m., second report. Another trucker, Melissa Hayes, added, "Same here. She had both arms out, waving. I slowed down, but she didn't move. Just stared. No car around. Anyone call that in?" 1:36 a.m., Jason radio contact. Jason's voice came through. "I'm pulling over. Lady in distress at 302. Alone. No hazards out. Gonna check." No further transmission followed. 2:14 a.m., emergency call by third driver. Trucker Ramon Lopez, following behind Jason by 15 minutes, spotted his rig parked on the shoulder. His hazards were flashing. Door open. Driver not in sight. Thought maybe he was helping someone or in the woods. But it was just dead quiet. Ramon called dispatch. Local sheriff's office was notified. 2:41 a.m. Deputies arrive at scene. San Juan County deputies arrived to find Jason's rig idling. Headlights were on. Inside, Jason's wallet in the cup holder. Coffee still warm. Cell phone placed on the passenger seat. His dash cam had been physically unplugged, wire hanging loose. Boot prints led from the driver's door into the dirt, but stopped 15 feet out in open desert. Also present were smaller prints, barefoot, pointing toward the highway. Female, possibly adult. They trailed off beside a small rock formation. No woman was found. October 3rd, 3:30 a.m., search begins. Officers called in search and rescue. Thermal drones scanned the area. Helicopters circled at sunrise. 9 units were deployed by 6 a.m. No signs of Jason. No evidence of foul play. No vehicle besides his was seen on any nearby footage. Unusual clue number 1, scent trail halts. 9 dogs traced Jason's scent north for roughly 200 yards, and then stopped abruptly. 1 dog circled, barked, and refused to move forward. Handlers described the air as unusually still. No wind, no animal calls. Unusual clue number 2, the second set of prints. The barefoot tracks were recorded by forensic teams. Size suggested a woman between 5 feet 4 inches and 5 feet 7 inches. But the stride length was inconsistent, long, then short, then long again. A forensic anthropologist noted it was as if the person was walking forward, then backward, then forward again. Interview with Carl Barnes. When asked later what he saw, Barnes insisted. She wasn't waving like someone in danger. It was almost robotic, like she knew when the trucks were coming and just stood there waiting. Dashcam review, Jason's final image. Recovered footage, though corrupted, from Jason's dashcam showed his truck slowing near mile 302. A single frame, blurred but distinct, captures a figure in a white dress standing to the right of the road. No facial detail. Arms outstretched. The image was time-stamped 1:37 a.m. He vanished by 1:41. No vehicle nearby. Despite the implication of a stranded motorist, no car, wrecked or otherwise, was ever found nearby. No glass. No skid marks. No oil stains. The area was dry and flat. Visibility was clear. October 4th to 7th, multi-day search. Search efforts continued for 4 more days. Volunteers combed miles of desert. Rangers were called in. A Navajo tracker assisting the search reportedly said, "There are places the land won't give back, and she's one of them." Unusual clue number 3, audio interference. Audio pulled from CB channel archives that night revealed overlapping transmission from 1 a.m. to 2:30 a.m., including repeated background static that sounded like whispering. The most repeated phrase, when isolated, was, "He stopped." Technicians could not trace the source. It did not match any known CB user in range that night. No witnesses, no suspects. Jason's personal record was clean. No history of mental illness or erratic behavior. No indication of distress. The woman seen was never identified, and no missing persons report in Utah matched her description. Jason Rayburn was declared legally deceased in 2022. His family holds a yearly vigil at mile marker 302. A small cross now stands near the shoulder with his initials and the phrase, "He stopped." She vanished. After the incident, Utah's Department of Transportation quietly placed a no-stopping sign near that marker. Truckers report that CB radios often cut out in that area. GPS flickers. And every now and then, a driver posts to a forum about a woman in white waving them down. But when they slow, she's already gone. In 2020, a paranormal investigator group from Nevada filmed a night investigation at the site. Their audio recorder captured faint movement in the background. One member later claimed he saw a woman duck behind a boulder, but no one else confirmed it. Their video received 120K views before the channel was removed without explanation. As of 2024, no further clues have surfaced. And yet, 3 new CB reports have emerged in the last year alone. Each describes the same thing: a barefoot woman in white, standing still and silently waving. At 4:12 a.m. on September 27, 2020, a way station officer near the Colorado, New Mexico border reported a Freightliner rig idling on the shoulder just beyond the checkpoint, hazard lights blinking in the dark. For 6 full hours, the truck remained running with its cab door slightly ajar. No driver in sight, no movement on surveillance. When local law enforcement arrived, they found no signs of a struggle, no blood, and no tracks, just a single set of boots placed neatly on the asphalt beside the door. The driver, 39-year-old Troy Keller, was never seen again. To this day, no one knows what happened between mile marker 129 and the edge of dawn. Troy Keller was an independent long-haul driver contracted by Keystone Intermodal Logistics, based out of Pueblo, Colorado. With over 14 years of over-the-road experience, Troy had built a reputation for consistency, safety, and routine. He owned his own 2013 Freightliner Cascadia, navy blue with a rust-red trailer, and handled solo hauls across Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah. Known among friends as TK, Troy was unmarried with no children. He lived in a modest home on the outskirts of Colorado Springs and maintained a strict driving schedule, rarely stopping longer than 15 minutes and always checking in with dispatch when passing checkpoints. He favored early morning runs and late-night deliveries, often listening to classic rock or crime podcasts as he drove. On the night of his disappearance, Troy was running a refrigerated load of bulk produce from Alamosa, Colorado, to Gallup, New Mexico. It was a 360-mile drive across state lines, with no weather warnings, no major roadblocks, and no deviation expected. September 26th, 7:42 p.m., departure from Alamosa Depot. Troy clocked out from the loading dock at Fresh Peak Produce with a full manifest of perishables. His logs show he planned to arrive in Gallup by 6:30 a.m. the following morning. CB check-in verified. GPS active. 9:18 p.m., refueling stop in Antonito, Colorado. Troy refueled at a Shell station. Receipts confirmed. Gas station security footage shows him using the pump, stretching briefly, and returning to the cab with a bottled water and sunflower seeds. 10:51 p.m., southbound on US 285. GPS shows normal movement. Dashcam footage reveals calm conditions, minimal traffic. Troy's voice can be heard on the internal mic, humming along to Led Zeppelin. 11:23 p.m., border proximity ping. Troy crossed into New Mexico, near mile marker 129. He was within 3 miles of the Rio Chama way station. Logs show no unusual speed drops or route deviations. 12:01 a.m., CB transmission logged. A driver heading northbound reported a faint message from someone matching Troy's voice on channel 19. Anyone copy? Got a weird light up ahead. Not a car. It's hovering. Real still. Static followed. No replies logged. 12:19 a.m., rig spotted parked near way station. Way station operator Laura Clifton saw Troy's Freightliner, pulled over on a shoulder patch just past the inspection zone. I figured he was on a break, maybe sorting paperwork. The truck lights were on, hazard blinkers active. Nothing seemed off. She logged the rig as idle. No one approached it for hours. Between 12:30 to 6:20 a.m., continuous engine operation. Multiple truckers passed by during this window. One Dale Ross recalled. The truck just sat there. Same blink rate on the hazards. I remember thinking the driver must have fallen asleep with the engine running. No one stopped. 6:21 a.m., law enforcement called. Laura notified state troopers after noticing that the truck hadn't moved all night. Her log shows a growing concern around 4 a.m., but protocol required 6 hours before contacting authorities unless visible distress. 6:55 a.m., State Patrol arrives. Officer Kenneth Reyes arrived at the scene. He noted the truck's engine was still running. The cab door was ajar by 8 inches. There was no driver in or around the vehicle. Contents inside the cab. Troy's phone on the dash, dead battery. His wallet in the center console, cash and cards untouched. 2 open logbooks, both stopped at 11:23 p.m. Half-drunk coffee in the cup holder, still slightly warm. On the ground, just beneath the step-up, Troy's boots, arranged heel to heel, side by side. A single sunflower seed shell crushed under the left boot. No drag marks. No footprints leading away. The terrain was gravel and hardened clay. Wind speeds were minimal. Unusual detail number 1, cabin scent. Officer Reyes reported a faint, metallic smell in the cab, described as like ozone or battery acid. Hazmat was called, but found no hazardous leaks. Unusual detail number 2, CB interference. When troopers tested the CB unit, it broadcasted an open static frequency. But beneath the fuzz, they recorded what sounded like a repeated low-frequency hum. A forensic audio analyst from Santa Fe later said, "It's not a voice, but it repeats every 43 seconds like clockwork. Some kind of signal interference." 7:42 a.m., canine search begins. K-9 units traced faint scent trails south for roughly 80 yards, but then the dogs became visibly agitated. One whined and backed off near a small dry creek. No tracks were found beyond that point. Drones and aerial support, 9:15 a.m. to 2:40 p.m. Thermal imaging drones scanned a 3-mile radius. No heat signatures. No sign of a person walking from the site. The desert was empty. Only 2 birds were detected circling near an outcrop, but ground teams found nothing there. Surveillance review. The way station's camera, unfortunately, had a blind spot facing the direction of the rig. Footage from the opposite angle simply showed headlights blinking, uninterrupted, for 6 hours straight. There was no record of anyone approaching the truck. Unusual detail number 3, backup camera malfunction. Troy's rig had a rear-facing dashcam and black box system. The footage from that night was corrupted, blank from 11:24 p.m. to 6:18 a.m. But when the footage was enhanced, one still frame showed an overexposed white blotch, hovering above the truck's rear trailer for a split second at 12:06 a.m. Investigators later called it lens flare, but internal Keystone documents noted strong magnetic corruption around the footage timestamp. Search widened. Over the next 72 hours, New Mexico State Police, Navajo Rangers, and volunteer SAR crews scoured the region. They found no signs of Troy, nor his clothes, nor any trace of a struggle. No cell activity, no financial movement, no indication he left willingly. Troy Keller was declared legally missing on March 18, 2021. His Freightliner was impounded, examined, and returned to Keystone. Mechanics stripped the CB and black box equipment for review. No cause of failure was found. Everything functioned, but none of it recorded the missing 6 hours. Keystone quietly retired the rig. It was sold to a Canadian shipping firm, which returned it within 2 months, citing strange electrical anomalies and repeated sensor errors. Among truckers in the area, Route 285 near the New Mexico border is now known as the Blink Zone. Drivers report lights flickering, static whispers, and cell phones dying between mile markers 127 to 131. A Reddit user claiming to be a night driver in the area posted dashcam footage in early 2022. In it, a blinking light is visible just off the shoulder, similar to the Freightliner's hazards. When the camera zooms, a figure appears in the glare, but when the light changes angle, the figure is gone. The post was removed. User account deleted. The most chilling piece came from another way station officer in 2023, who spoke anonymously. Every few months, a truck will idle out there, just sitting, same spot, never the same driver. But they all say the same thing when they check back in. They don't remember stopping. Today, truckers still honk twice when passing that shoulder, but few ever pull over, and those who do don't linger long. Glenn Harper, 45, was a seasoned independent freight driver based out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Known for his efficient driving style and preference for overnight runs, Glenn had logged over 1.8 million accident-free miles since starting in 2001. His truck was a 2016 Volvo VNL 860, charcoal gray, fitted with a sleeper cab, updated GPS, and a mounted dashcam synced to his onboard tablet. Glenn was divorced with one daughter, whom he called every night from the road. He kept a strict log schedule, avoided unnecessary risks, and was highly regarded by dispatchers and fellow drivers alike. Most described him as no-nonsense, and the kind of guy who doesn't take the back roads unless he knows them. On July 13th, Glenn was scheduled to drive a shipment of sealed office supplies from Athens, Georgia, to Paducah, Kentucky. a standard northbound run expected to take just over 8 hours. The company, Wren & Wilson Logistics, noted no weather delays and provided a preferred route via I-75N and US 68W. Glenn never made it to the delivery site. July 13th, for 17 p.m., departure from Athens Depot. Glenn checked out from the Wren & Wilson warehouse. The load was sealed, GPS tracking enabled, and dashcam synced. His log entry read, "Taking I-75, no issues expected. Should be in Paducah by midnight." 6:41 p.m., refuel and rest stop in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Glenn stopped at a pilot truck stop. Surveillance showed him refueling, buying coffee and sunflower seeds, and making a call to his daughter. "Love you, kiddo. I'll check in when I'm parked." Midnight latest. 8:05 p.m., near Cookeville, Tennessee. GPS data confirms he stayed on I-40W as instructed. No unusual detours or drop in speed. 9:26 p.m., last dashcam confirmation. Footage shows Glenn driving on US 70 near Carthage, passing a small town with no nameplate. He slows briefly, then continues west. 10:03 p.m., first GPS anomaly. His truck deviates from the primary route and turns onto a road labeled Old Mill Hollow Road. This road does not exist on current DOT maps or digital navigation systems. Older topographical scans show a now decommissioned logging road from the 1950s that ran through the region. It was never paved. 10:09 p.m., CB transmission logged. Trucker Tina Cole, driving along US 70, heard a faint message. "Taking this side path. Says it reconnects. Not seeing any signage. Real quiet. Trees all around." 11:17 p.m., phone signal lost. Glenn's phone last pinged a rural tower near Smith County. No further signal or call was made. 3:18 a.m., final CB call. Multiple drivers along the I-40 corridor picked up the following. Shortcut dead ends. Feels wrong. Feels to watched. Trying to reverse. Can't. The transmission cut off mid-sentence. 6:43 a.m., truck found. A local farmer named Darrell Knox discovered a semi parked halfway into a clearing past a gravel turnoff near Center Hill Lake. It was just sitting there like it got tired and gave up. No driver. Just dead quiet. July 14th, 7:12 a.m., law enforcement arrives. DeKalb County Sheriff's Office responded. The rig was found parked at the edge of a clearing. Trailer doors wide open. Engine off, but battery functional. No signs of a crash or mechanical failure. Sealed cargo untouched. Inside the cab, Glenn's logbook open on the passenger seat, pen resting on the page. Coffee spilled but dried on the cup holder. His tablet powered off with a cracked screen. Sunflower seed shells scattered across the driver's floor mat. Unusual detail number 1, GPS looping. When technicians examined the GPS unit, it showed Glenn's last location as mile marker 304 on Old Mill Hollow Road. Despite the DOT confirming that the highest marker in that region is 278. Replaying the route looped the same 3-mile stretch repeatedly before freezing. Unusual detail number 2, road that isn't there. Surveyors from the Tennessee Department of Transportation were sent to the area. There's no road, not even a cut path, just overgrowth and animal trails. Where the truck is parked shouldn't be reachable by semi without visible damage or heavy terrain equipment. Field report, yet the Freightliner had no undercarriage damage. Tires intact. No mud. Unusual detail number 3, dashcam recovery. Techs recovered only 17 seconds of corrupted dashcam footage. Static. Flickering trees. Headlights illuminating something like road signs. Faded, rusted, unreadable. Final frame showed Glenn's face. Eyes wide, mouth partially open, illuminated by a flashing red light from behind. No red lights were ever reported in the area. No towers, radio equipment, or hazards nearby. July 15th to 18th, search efforts expand. Search teams including local PD, state troopers, and SAR volunteers scoured the surrounding woods and logging sites. 9 units were deployed, but consistently lost the scent near a rock formation roughly 300 feet from the truck. Thermal imaging from a state patrol chopper found no unusual heat signatures. One operator noted, "Everything looked colder than it should have, like the woods had no body heat." Not even animal movement. Clue recovered, strange object in cab. In the back panel of the cab's overhead storage, a metal token was discovered. It had no engravings or markings except 3 horizontal lines across one side, burnt into the metal. It wasn't part of any standard Freightliner equipment. No traceable manufacturer. The object was submitted to the FBI's evidence response team under a sealed chain of custody file. Interviews with locals. One elderly resident, Helen Tate, recalled something odd. Used to be an old road back there, led to a logging camp. Shut down after the river took part of it in '58. Nobody goes there now. But every so often I hear rigs, horns, rumble, out there in the middle of the night. Ain't no road left though. She refused to revisit the location. Glenn Harper was officially declared missing on February 22, 2023. His case remains open with the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office and the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. The road, referred to by authorities as the Phantom Spur, has been quietly removed from public-facing mapping databases. No other drivers have since been found traveling that path. Among truckers, rumors of the ghost route have grown louder. Some claim if you veer off near mile marker 289 on US 70 after 2 a.m., your GPS might reroute you just once. Just enough to get you off the grid. Others say they've seen old highway signs in the trees, tilted, rusted, flickering with reflectors. But when they turn to follow them, the signs vanish. In 2023, a viral Reddit post showed a dashcam clip of an unknown semi disappearing into a dense tree line just outside Smith County. A driver passed by 22 seconds later. The road was gone. The video was removed within days. The user deleted their account. The Wren and Wilson delivery manifest remains open in their internal system, marked simply, Driver, Glenn Harper, final location, non-existent route. And the last thing Glenn ever said, according to CB records, still echoes in trucker chat rooms. Feels off. No signs. Just trees. At 5:41 a.m. on February 12, 2019, a snowplow operator reported a semi-truck idling near the summit of New Zealand's Lewis Pass. Cab lights on, engine humming, windows frosted from the inside. Inside the cab was 47-year-old American long hauler Clint Mercer, slumped over the wheel, eyes wide open, frozen solid. The eerie part? The truck's heater was functioning perfectly, the cabin warm to the touch, and Clint's last CB transmission, sent barely 90 minutes prior, mentioned someone waving him down on a stretch of road known to be empty. No footprints in the snow. No sign of another vehicle. Just a man who should have survived the night, but didn't. Clint Mercer had been a long-haul trucker for 22 years, based out of Billings, Montana. Known to friends as reliable, methodical, and never one to take risks on the road, Clint had a spotless record and an obsessive routine. He was single, no kids, and made a point of keeping to tight delivery schedules, even during international assignments like this one. A month-long winter freight contract hauling telecom equipment from Christchurch to Greymouth across the Southern Alps. New Zealand's Lewis Pass is no stranger to danger. It's the northernmost of 3 mountain passes across the Southern Alps, a region prone to avalanches, sudden snowstorms, and cell signal dead zones. On the night Clint disappeared, temperatures had dipped to minus 11 degrees Celsius, with drifting ice fog and patchy snowfall along the summit stretch. Locals say the pass has always had weird energy, with Maori legends warning travelers not to stop at certain bends after sunset. But Clint wouldn't have known that, not from the trip brief, and not from the GPS coordinates stamped into his delivery log. Clint's assigned route was standard. Depart Christchurch at 6 p.m. on February 11th. Deliver to a Greymouth telecom depot by 7 a.m. the next morning. His Freightliner Argosy, retrofitted for winter terrain, was loaded and cleared by customs at 5:45 p.m. Dashcam and GPS logs confirm he left the yard right on time. At 8:32 p.m., he passed through the small town of Hammer Springs. Fuel receipts from a Caltex station time-stamped at 8:39 p.m. corroborate a short stop. According to the attendant, Clint didn't talk much, just grabbed a bottle of V and 2 packs of jerky. He didn't mention any issues. At 9:55 p.m., another driver, local hauler Mike Ransley, reported hearing Clint's voice over CB Channel 11. He said he was near Frog Flat, saw someone on the shoulder waving a light. Asked if there was a wreck or hazard ahead. Ransley, still an hour behind Clint, told him that stretch of road had no turn-offs or lay-bys, just forest and snow. At 10:12 p.m., Clint's GPS unit stopped transmitting. No emergency beacon was triggered, and there was no erratic behavior logged prior to signal loss. It wasn't until the next morning, 5:41 a.m., that a plow operator named Teariki Peora spotted Clint's rig parked just off the shoulder near the summit levee. The truck's headlights on, engine idling smoothly, hazard lights blinking in perfect rhythm. Police arrived by 6:17 a.m. What they found stunned them. Clint was seated upright, his body in full rigor mortis, eyes open, hands frozen around the wheel. The cab temperature was 24 degrees Celsius. The heater was fully functional. There were no signs of a struggle, no signs of cold exposure within the truck itself. No frostbite, no moisture condensation, not even cold skin. Clint had frozen in a warm cab. Dashcam footage was intact but corrupted, displaying only static after 9:58 p.m. A 12-minute segment was entirely missing from the hard drive, with no overwrite commands or system alerts. CB logs from nearby trucks showed no further contact after the 9:55 call. No other vehicles were captured by roadside cameras between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. The snow surrounding the rig was pristine. No tire marks aside from Clint's. No footprints. Nothing. Police and forensic teams cordoned off the site by 7 a.m. Initial cause of death was assumed to be hypothermia, but autopsy results told a stranger story. Clint's core temperature was consistent with rapid freezing, a drop so sharp it defied what was possible in a heated cabin. Internal organs showed cellular rupture consistent with cryogenic exposure. No drugs, alcohol, or trauma were found. Toxicology was clean. The Freightliner's heater was operating at full capacity. Its onboard diagnostics showed no failure. Fuel levels were steady. Investigators tested cabin temperature multiple times over the next 48 hours. It never dropped below 22 degrees Celsius while the engine was on. A systems technician from the freight company, Loneliest NZ, reviewed the truck's onboard computer. He discovered something troubling. A brief system reboot triggered remotely at 10:06 p.m., a feature not accessible via driver controls. The signal came from an unknown IP, logged only as null zone. Interpol was contacted. The IP couldn't be traced to any known device, and no network activity was registered at that time in the region. Loneliest disabled remote command features in all fleet vehicles immediately after. A side compartment was found open behind the cab. Inside was Clint's emergency kit, untouched, and a Polaroid camera, issued by the company for road documentation. One photo was found developed, still warm under the seat. It showed the cab interior from the passenger seat, but there was a figure reflected in the driver's side window, tall, blurred, and seemingly standing inches from the door. No such figure was visible in the snow outside. Detective Inspector Aroha Keeley led the case. She told media, "There's no evidence Clint stepped outside. No forced entry. No clear cause of death. We're investigating this as a suspicious death, but so far, the facts don't point to any known criminal act." The trucking community erupted. Forums lit up with speculation. Everything from illegal experiments to ghost stories. One retired driver, Maisha Ford, claimed something similar happened in 1997, also on Lewis Pass. A solo hauler named Dane Willis was found 40 meters off the road, barefoot, with no signs of frostbite despite sub-zero temps. That case was marked as an accidental death. A second driver, anonymous, came forward via CB radio broadcast on February 17th. "I passed a guy near the summit that night. He had no lights, no car, just waving a flashlight side to side. I didn't stop. Thought it was a trick." Police traced the signal, but found no truck registered on that stretch at the time. For weeks, the investigation stalled. No new evidence, no motive, no signs of foul play, and yet no explanation. Then, on March 2nd, the corrupted dashcam footage briefly flickered during a lab review. One frame, just one, displayed a timestamp, 10:07 and 18 seconds p.m. A still image was extracted. It showed the dashboard illuminated by red light, and Clint staring sideways at the passenger seat. expression frozen in panic. The seat was empty. The Lewis Pass mystery remains open to this day. Clint Mercer's death certificate lists acute hypothermia, cause unknown. His body was flown home to Billings, where a small memorial was held by his sister, Linda, who told local press, "Clint wasn't the kind to freeze up, not mentally, not physically. Something took him. Something got inside that truck." Since 2019, 3 other truckers have reported sightings on the same stretch of Lewis Pass. A man in a high-vis jacket, standing in the road just before the summit, holding what looks like a dead flashlight. Every driver who reported it said the man disappeared before they got close. No footprints, no signs. Lumen Logics pulled its contracts across the Southern Alps. All their long-haul trucks were fitted with analog backups and had remote rebooting permanently disabled. In 2021, a group of amateur sleuths, calling themselves the Lewis Watch, installed trail cams in the area. One camera, set near Frog Flat, captured 11 seconds of footage during a power outage. A truck with its hazards blinking, then fading slowly out of frame. But no driver, no engine sound, and no tire impressions in the snow. Clint's CB handle, Whisper 3, has reportedly been heard broadcasting on dead channels late at night, according to 3 separate truckers in the area. Always the same message. You see him too? Don't stop. There are no physical copies of the final dashcam frame. The lab's digital server that stored it crashed 3 days later and couldn't be recovered. Investigators had only printed a single copy, now missing from case archives. The photo with the figure in the window remains the last known image of Clint Mercer alive. To this day, the truck, Freightliner Unit #773X, is impounded in an undisclosed location. Authorities declined all requests to release it to family, citing pending investigation protocols. But according to a former Lumen Logics mechanic, the truck's cabin still shows signs of frost, even when the heater is on. No one drives that route at night anymore.